Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And we have breaking news to show you right now as traffic is flowing once again on I-85 near Granville County after this crash. Michelle McConaughey is in the WRAL Live Center with brand new information that we have received in just the last 15 minutes.
And it's heating up here on the weather patio. That means more storms. A few starting to pop up to our east. I'll show you what we'll expect here this afternoon.
Edging higher. The May Consumer Report shows Americans are paying slightly higher prices than in April. We'll break down the numbers.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we're going to talk about that crash on I-85 in Granville County. You just saw the picture of that badly damaged van. This is video from Sky 5. A portion of 85 was shut down because of this crash. Right now, we are working to get more details about what happened here. 85 has since reopened, but this is what it looked like earlier. You can see dead stop traffic because of this crash. Working to learn if there were any injuries in this, how many people were involved. As soon as we get that information, we will bring it to you from the Live Center. We also know Sky 5 heading to Durham, 885. We are hearing of a crash there as well. We'll get more details on that and bring it to you from the Live Center.
Thanks, Michelle. Right now, we give you this live look, a picture of the azalea gardens outside, courtesy of the WRL Live Cam Network. And it is hot and humid out there this afternoon, and it appears to be a growing chance of storms late day as well as midday. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is out on the WRAL weather patio with a look at who's more likely to see storms this afternoon.
We're already starting to see a few of these popping up on Dual Doppler 5000 radar, and you can see they're to the north and to the east right now. Mostly that's where things will be today. Anywhere just south and east of Raleigh is where we're more likely to see storms. But look at this. It looks like part of our viewing area has just gone under a severe thunderstorm warning. And so that's going to be just the very northwestern corner of Northampton County. You can see that cell looks like it's mostly staying in Virginia, but potentially it does clip. Folks there in Roanoke Rapids, it looks like the warning keeps it just north of Roanoke Rapids, but there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that just northwestern corner of Northampton County. So we'll watch that line that's up to the north around South Hill. We're seeing that continuing to slide off to the east as well. So we take a look at Futurecast, and we continue to have that potential for some scattered storms. You can see that cell there kind of dropping down by 1 o'clock closer to Rocky Mount. So we'll see if it continues to have the potential to produce wind damage. Wind damage is going to be our biggest threat out of that severe thunderstorm warning, which just was posted about a minute or two ago. More sunshine through the afternoon, and then a few stray showers and storms again south and east of the Triangle between 5 and 8 o'clock. I wouldn't expect it to be much of a big deal in the Triangle for the evening commute. It is warm and sticky out here. I'll tell you what, 83 degrees right now, but it's that dew point sitting at 70 that makes it feel uncomfortable. I mean, 83 by itself isn't so bad, but it is humid out here. We'll climb into the low 90s in just a couple of hours. That'll be our high temperature for the day. Now, today and tomorrow, we only have minor threats for a heat risk, but by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it goes up to moderate as our heat index really climbs. I'll show you what it will feel like and our increasing chance for storms this weekend coming up.
Oh, yeah, the pool days are here. Elizabeth, thank you. For months, businesses across the U.S. have warned that tariffs imposed by the Trump administration would force them to raise prices. But the latest Consumer Price Index report shows those hikes have been limited so far. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur joins us live from the Food Lion off Avon Ferry Road with a closer look at the numbers just out today. Keely.
So, Jeff, some good news. The cost of things like new and used cars, plane tickets, even clothing, all of which come from overseas, really has gone down. But conversely, the price of food and shelter is up. When you take all those numbers for all those different goods and services and combine them, it comes out to 2.4%. So we're paying 2.4% more for things than we did around this time last year. But I want to speak specifically about food. So the price index looks at food at home, so the cost of groceries, and the cost of food outside of the house. So takeout, restaurants, and then combines those two numbers. The cost to eat out is 2.2% more than last year. The cost of groceries is 2.9% more. But on a positive note, the cost of gas, get this, down 12%.
So, yeah, we saw a mix. Not everything is going in the right direction. But overall, the administration should feel good about this. The inflation rate was acceptable, and it was actually, depending on whether you measure it year over year or month to month, it was actually lower year over year.
So this is really the first report where we can measure the impact of tariffs on consumer prices. It showed that things more or less remain in check. I want to talk about eggs because we always talk about eggs when we talk about price increases. Now, if you look at the price of eggs from this month, or May, I should say, compared to April, the price of eggs is down 2.7%. That sounds great, but you're probably not going to really notice it because when you look year over year, the cost of eggs is up 41%. Reporting live in Raleigh, Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
And as we take a look at stocks this noon, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, as you see, it started off the day in negative territory, and it's made a rebound. It's the pre-market numbers were well below where they are. Now it's at 114 in positive territory. S&P 500 and the NASDAQ both in positive territory as well this noon.
The U.S. has apparently reached a trade deal with China. That's according to a social media post from President Trump today. The deal was apparently reached following high-level talks in London between representatives of both countries. The president wrote, "Our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me." U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has also confirmed a framework of a deal is in place and that it signals a commitment to de-escalate tension between the two countries. A bipartisan bill introduced on Capitol Hill could raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. North Carolina's minimum wage matches the current federal wage of $7.25 an hour. It has stayed the same since 2009, despite several attempts from Democratic lawmakers to raise it. If it becomes law, the new minimum wage would go into effect on January 1st of the year after it is enacted.
A major decision could come down today on a bill to loosen gun laws in North Carolina. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at the state legislature with what's at stake.
This bill would allow almost anyone 18 or older to carry a concealed weapon without a permit. House leaders could vote here in the state legislative building a little bit later today. You're looking at video of state lawmakers discussing the bill yesterday. Right now, concealed carry permits have several requirements: a background check, a fee, a test that proves you know how to shoot and understand gun laws, plus you have to be 21. This proposed bill would lower the age to 18 and eliminate all those other requirements. Republicans who support this change say it gets rid of unnecessary red tape. Critics say this is a public safety threat and could lead to more young people having guns without proper training. A couple Republicans actually voted against this very early on in the voting process. Some even chose not to vote at all. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on the final vote that's likely to happen later today. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
It's unclear right now when 700 Marines mobilized to the Los Angeles area will be sent to the streets to help with protests. That tops today's headlines in the face-off over immigration measures in California. The Marines have not completed their standard rules for use of force and non-lethal weapons training, even though Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth told lawmakers that all troops that had been deployed there were already trained for the mission. National Guard troops in L.A. include Marines and are authorized to temporarily detain people only in a specific circumstance.
And here in the WRAL Live Center, NBC News has been providing up-to-the-minute updates on these ICE raids here. A curfew, this just in, the curfew announced in downtown Los Angeles, showing exactly where that curfew zone is, much of downtown LA as well as Chinatown. Protests similar to those in LA are also showing up across the country. They also have this map here outlining all the red dots showing you where these protests have happened since Monday. We also know Texas is deploying the National Guard in anticipation of anything to happen there. The governor said that he wanted to ensure peace and order there.
You saw that map Michelle showed you, one of the red dots in Raleigh. Today in Raleigh, hundreds of people are expected to take to the streets, fighting back against what they describe as an attack on immigrant communities and violent repression of protesters. This heightened tension in the capital city comes after the state Senate approved State Bill 153. The bill requires state and local government agencies to cooperate with deportation efforts by ICE agents. This legislation moved forward amid nationwide protests against ICE, and as dozens of protesters packed the Senate gallery, then marched to the governor's mansion Tuesday. Raleigh Police Chief Rico Boyce addressed how his department is preparing for possible unrest in the city.
We have a lot of practice with protests. And some things that we learned since 2020. One is that we're going to make sure everybody exercises their First Amendment right. That is going to happen, but we want to make sure they do it safe.
The immigration crackdown bill now heads to Governor Stein's desk. Tonight, demonstrators plan to protest around 6 o'clock in Raleigh's Moore Square.
Crews worked quickly to remove a large tree that fell onto power lines on North Roxborough Street in Durham. It likely fell during overnight storms. The tree blocked the southbound lanes for several hours during the morning commute. No major power outages were reported, and traffic is now moving freely again. Investigators are working to find the cause of a fire that destroyed a house in Holly Springs. This fire happened yesterday afternoon on Sunset Walk Lane. 2 people were inside the house when all those flames began. Both escaped unharmed.
In Washington, D.C., preparations are underway for President Trump's military parade that will take place on Saturday. The parade is expected to draw up to 200,000 spectators to the country's capital. Meanwhile, back at Fort Bragg, soldiers are getting ready to celebrate the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary on Saturday. Trump will visit Fayetteville with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Army Secretary Dan Driscoll to celebrate the servicemen and women.
Next at noon, unsubscribing from services and getting cyber attacked. It's happening. How to make sure it doesn't happen to you.
Also, an invention to prevent an all too common tragedy. How some college kids hope their device ends the mistake of leaving kids in cars.
Plus, predatory towing, the changes it could be coming to hold tow truck companies more accountable.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
It's been nearly 10 years since a white supremacist shot and killed 9 black churchgoers during a final prayer inside a Charleston church. Since then, community leaders, educators, and law enforcement have organized events to discuss the shooting inside Mother Emanuel AME Church. The annual event allows the community to discuss the changes around the commemoration of the Mother Emanuel tragedy.
I encourage a lot of the current politicians and the people making decisions, like, you really should let these kids learn these things, because we're going to be in the same, having these same type of panels 20, 30 years in the future and not making any changes if we don't educate the youth right now. It's an abuse of power to try to keep things the same.
South Carolina remains one of the 2 states without a hate crime law. Senator Clementa Pinckney Hate Crimes Act is named after one of the victims killed in that Mother Emanuel AME Church shooting in 2015. The bill has never, though, made it through state Senate.
Cuts to federal research funding pose an existential threat to academic medicine and put the nation's health at risk. That's according to a new report from the Association of American Medical Colleges, which represents 172 med schools in the U.S. and Canada. The report says proposals in the House GOP tax and spending cuts bill could lead to a loss of health insurance for 11 million people enrolled in Medicaid or Affordable Care Act coverage. The association also says the bill cuts and jeopardizes loans for half of medical students. The acting enforcement director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has resigned. In an email announcing her decision, Kara Peterson slammed the Trump administration's efforts to dismantle the agency. Peterson wrote, quote, "It is clear that the Bureau's current leadership has no intention to enforce the law in any meaningful way. The Protection Bureau ensures banks, lenders, and other financial companies play fair with consumers."
Most people who are fed up with the onslaught of unwanted email messages just click the unsubscribe button, but that simple act could lead to a variety of cyber attacks. Experts say 1 in every 644 clicks on the familiar "click here to unsubscribe" tab leads to potentially malicious websites. The link will either alert the scammer that they have a live email or will take you to a page to try to get you to install malware.
If it's a bad actor that's sending this email to you and the email looks legit, but at the bottom it says click here to unsubscribe, why would that link be any safer than click here to see if you won $5,000?
As always, never click on a link from anyone you don't know. They suggest you go straight to the website.
The WRAL weather team often uses dew point instead of relative humidity to tell you how muggy it feels. Meteorologist Chris Michaels explains why in today's Ask the Meteorologist.
Oftentimes this time of year, we're going to show the dew point because it's a more accurate measure as to how muggy the air is. When the air is colder, it holds less water vapor. Therefore, the dew point is lower and it feels less muggy. But when it's hotter outside, warmer air holds more water vapor. That's why you oftentimes see heavier rain in the summer as opposed to the winter time. So let's kind of set up a scenario for you. It's a January morning. You wake up, the temperature's 32, the dew point's 32. That means the relative humidity is about 100%, but it doesn't necessarily feel muggy because that dew point is low. Now let's talk about an afternoon like today where the temperature reaches about 90 degrees. The dew point is 70. That means the relative humidity is about 51, 52%, but that dew point being higher means that it feels muggier outside. So in terms of Father's Day, looking at the heat index of about 95 to 100 degrees. Right now on WRAL.com, we're talking about why the heat index is an important number and how our bodies react differently when the air is dry versus when it's sticky, like it is over the course of these next several days.
And you asked, and there's the answer from the meteorologist, right? Why one over the other? All I know is that when you're using those terms, it's hot outside and it's muggy.
Yeah, right now the dew point, if you want to be technical, is 70 degrees, and that means really muggy. Elizabeth, that muggy meter is all the way over to the right.
It is. It's like over to the right and to the right and then to the right a little farther. It is super sticky out here right now. We also have some storms that have popped up. Of course, at the beginning of the newscast, we told you about the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect in Northampton County, and that lasts until 12:45. So starting with the big picture, there's really not anything else that's popping up in our viewing area at the moment, except right just in the last like 3 or 4 minutes. It looks like they're in Vance County along I-85. It looks like there's a cell that's trying to develop there. So we'll take a closer look at that one coming up in just a little bit. Again, our severe thunderstorm warning in effect just for that northern section of Northampton County until about 12:45. You can see still the rain is up into Virginia, and so it may sink southward. The community of Seaboard may be affected. This is moving slowly at only about 12 miles per hour, moving off to the south and east. Two things that we're concerned about with this one would be winds at 60 miles per hour or stronger, which could knock down some trees, and or hail. And you can see that purple shaded area. That's where the radar is able to pick up on hail, but it's just half-inch hail, and a quarter-inch hail or an inch hail would be hail that would be considered severe that could do some damage. So things are looking okay. That cell may drift all the way down to around, say, Rocky Mount or so, and then slide off to the east. We'll let you know if it continues to be severe. And then as we get into the evening, starting back up at around 5, 6 o'clock, we could have a few more cells. Most of these look like they'll end up being south and east of the triangle. It's probably not going to be a big issue for the evening commute unless these just start to randomly pop up in places that the computer model isn't picking up on. And that is certainly a possibility in this sort of a pattern. We don't have a front coming through. If a front comes through, you know, we can feel pretty confident about, oh yeah, the line's going to come through and it's easy to time out. It's a summer-like pattern like this where the cells just sort of start to pop up in random places. That's where it gets really hard to predict exactly who's going to see it. We can let you know, though, it is hot and humid, and Renee was paying very close attention because, yes, she noticed that the dew point was 70. That's the number you really want to pay attention to. When the dew point is in the 70s, we have the potential for it to become dangerous with the heat index. Right now it's 83 degrees, so it's not so hot, but as our temperature goes up and that dew point stays in the 70s, that's when it starts to get a little tricky. It's 74 in South Hill, where we had that rain come through, but elsewhere our temperatures are in the low to mid 80s. It's 82 in Apex and Holly Springs and 81 right now in Garner. Around town, our high temperatures will climb on up into the low 90s, and then our dew point starting tomorrow is well into the 70s, and so we'll be a bit on the concern side. It'll feel like 98 on Friday and Saturday, and it feels like 101 on Sunday, and of course that is Father's Day. We also have a chance of showers and thunderstorms for the weekend. It goes up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll talk more about the timeline for those storms, and we'll talk about our heat threats into the weekend coming up.
Elizabeth, we are always closely paying attention to the forecast. I don't know about this one, though.
I am.
Tariff troubles. They aren't just impacting our groceries and other goods, but bikes. Today on WRAL News at 4, how this could impact local businesses and your next ride. Of course, you are paying attention, Jeff.
Plus turned away on a special day. That is what one local mom said happened to her today on WRAL News at 5:30. What you need to know so you don't miss out on your child's graduation day.
Welcome back. Beautiful white puffy clouds there in the skies over Chapel Hill, over Franklin Street. 83 degrees right now, and we're going to be headed up to 90 degrees. You're looking live and watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. It was a record-breaking start for Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo sold more than 3.5 million of the gaming consoles in the 4 days following its launch. The Switch 2 went on sale last Thursday and quickly sold out at many retailers. Nintendo is hoping to sell 15 million of the consoles by the end of next March. Some analysts expect sales of 20 million by then.
The Dirty Dozen list of produce for 2025 has been released, and the list can help you decide when it's best to potentially splurge on organic items. The list was created by testing data from the Environmental Working Group, EWG. According to this list, more than 90% of sampled fruits and vegetables had potentially harmful pesticides. This year's top offender, spinach. Other produce that tested high for pesticides were kale, collards, mustard greens, and various berries. The EWG recommends scrubbing firm produce and soaking in salt water or vinegar in order to clean. EWG also ranked the top 15 items that had the lowest amount of pesticides. This is known as the Clean 15. Many of these items are peeled before eating, which removes the pesticides. Top 5 include pineapples, followed by sweet corn, avocados, papaya, and onions. And remember, produce should always be washed before peeling to remove any lingering pesticides on them.
Since 1998, more than 1,000 children in the U.S. died due to being left in vehicles. 3 Louisiana State University students hope their invention prevents future tragedies. The engineering students were required to complete a capstone project their senior year. The group developed the WISE device to alert parents. It uses Bluetooth technology to connect a car fob that signals when the caretaker gets out of the car and is too far from the child.
There's a lot of distractions today, so it's just something to kind of protect all of the babies as much as we can. This is more than anything we could have expected to come from this project, so we're just really happy we could have created something that could make this big of an impact.
On Tuesday, the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission and the Louisiana Passenger Safety Task Force recognized the students for their innovation.
Saving lives with that, for sure. Putting the brakes on predatory towing, how a new bill could mean new restrictions for towing companies.
Bargain brands for even less, how one grocery store chain is helping customers keep more cash in their bank accounts. And here's a look at the winning lottery numbers,
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
More than 10,000 jobs could be coming to our state. WRAL learned state and local business groups are planning a major announcement at the Greensboro Airport tomorrow. WRAL's Ken Smith is live in studio with us right now. The industry that could be giving flight to NC jobs, Ken.
You know, Jeff, state and local leaders, even the company being quite cagey about this announcement. But if you read the tea leaves, this is happening. This is a huge economic development story for our state. We're talking about Jet Zero, maker of futuristic fuel-efficient jets, appearing to be picking North Carolina for a new factory. Now, the California-based company is expected to select a site at Piedmont Triad International Airport in Greensboro. Now, we talked about the tea leaves. Now, state and local leaders are planning a big economic development announcement tomorrow at that airport. Also, the announcement coincides with plans by state and local officials to vote on an incentive package, which the company isn't named, but it stands to reason that Jet Zero is the focus. In addition, Jet Zero was supposed to make a decision about its new factory by the middle of the month, and we are in the middle of June, right? You can read our full story on WRAL.com, and of course, course, we'll be on top of that big announcement tomorrow.
Soon the pieces will all come together. Ken, thank you. Google is offering buyouts to employees across the company, including within its search, marketing, and research teams. Some groups are mandating remote workers who live within 50 miles of an office to return in person. The buyouts are part of the company's efforts to reduce headcount. Google has been offering buyouts in waves since laying off 12,000 employees in 2023. A discount supermarket chain is lowering prices just in time for summer. The price of more than 400 products will be reduced. Aldi's says customers will collectively save $100 million this summer alone. The move is in response to growing economic concerns and global tariffs.
Tow truck companies might soon face more accountability over allegations of bad behavior. Predatory towing has been the topic of WRAL Investigates reporting in the past. Now it's receiving attention at the state legislature. WRAL state government reporter Will Doran joins us now live from the state legislature to explain what changes could be coming in this. Will.
Yeah, Jeff, there is clearly some desire here at the legislature to do something about these towing companies, but there's broad disagreement over exactly what these new rules should look like. There are now 2 different bills moving forward here at the legislature, and each one has bipartisan support, but they have very different ideas over what this should look like.
Will, I'm curious, what is the big debate over in all of this?
You know, some lawmakers want to see a much stricter crackdown on towing companies. They've proposed House Bill 199 that has broad consumer protections for all drivers. It would enact rules on how much tow companies can charge people. It would have stricter rules for signs. It would create a new website that people could use to find out if their car has been towed, where it goes to. And a similar bill was actually proposed last year following a WRAL Investigates series on predatory towing here in North Carolina. It didn't pass last year, but supporters are hoping that this year is going to be the year that it has a shot.
It would also seem like this could be an easy bipartisan ask, but you mentioned some lawmakers that disagree with the approach.
Exactly, that's right. Some lawmakers think that these consumer protection rules that have been proposed are going too far, and they've proposed a dueling bill, House Bill 577, that was actually just passed through committee today. It would enact weaker rules that only apply to semi-trucks and other commercial drivers and not the vast majority of all drivers here in North Carolina. So it's going to be now up to House GOP leadership to figure out which of these approaches to take, or if we just put a pause on this entire debate for right now. Jeff?
Yeah, we'll find out. A legislative debate with big implications for people's pocketbooks when it comes to that predatory towing and the like. Will Doran, thank you so much for that reporting. You can find more at the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com. Also, later this afternoon, the state legislature could give final approval to a bill that would allow people to carry a concealed weapon without a permit. Right now, concealed carry permits have several requirements: a background check, a fee, a test that proves you know how to shoot and understand gun laws. And you have to be 21. This proposed bill would lower the age to 18 and eliminate all those other requirements.
Raleigh's police department is rolling out a new summer safety plan. The plan aims to eliminate violent crime, remove dangerous illegal firearms, and hold repeat offenders accountable. Police Chief Rico Boyce says the focus areas include nightclubs, event spaces, transportation hubs, public parks, and greenways. Boyce also shared updated crime statistics with City Council yesterday. Compared to the same time frame last year, the number of aggravated assaults and stolen vehicles has decreased. Homicides remain steady, and the city has seen an increase in robberies. Boyce says public safety is top priority.
I want folks to be able to come and enjoy themselves and not have to worry about, if something going to happen to them.
The summer safety plan runs through August 30th. Check out WRAL.com for other crime stats and efforts to curb crime.
So much joy. Our Teacher of the Week reflects on the impact of her 46 years in the classroom.
Saved from tragedy. Hear from the hero who rescued a 6-year-old who fell into a pool. Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device. As we wrap up our Teacher of the Week segment for this traditional calendar school year, we are in Wilson.
And WRAL's Ken Smith visited Sally B. Howard Charter School to recognize a very special teacher known for going above and beyond in the classroom.
What word?
Angela Cherry's can-do spirit has served her well in her 46 years of teaching, the last 26 of which have been here at Sally B. Howard School of Arts and Science.
T-O spells two. Let's help
It's a charter school in Wilson named for this longtime educator who left behind quite a legacy.
What does being at this school mean to you?
I remember my first year, I had a classroom full of students that could not speak English, but their parents would tell them, go to school, pay attention, and come back and teach me.
Who is that? Is that you?
Long before Miss Cherry gets to enjoy these engaging moments or on dress-up day when one of her students dressed like her, she is up early as a school bus driver to make sure her students make it to school, which is all part of that can-do spirit she brings to the classroom.
I put my heart in it, and I hope they are receiving what I'm teaching. So I just get so much joy, so much fun, so much everything out of teaching.
Who is that? Christian. That's Christian?
Miss Cherry says the challenging but most rewarding part of her day when her students, some of whom may have been struggling, learn what she's been teaching.
That's my strength when I go home, my joy when I go home. It gives me that added motivation to come back the next day.
Miss Cherry, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
Ken Smith, WRAL News.
Just our favorite words to hear, you know, each week, I'd say. And the little mini-me that dressed up like her.
That
so
was
great.
adorable.
Our Teacher of the Week segment resumes in September. If you'd like to nominate a teacher, just go to WRAL.com, enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
You're looking live at Pinehurst, where it is hot and humid, but that's not keeping golfers off the green. Keep your water handy this afternoon and your umbrella around tonight. Elizabeth tells us who's likely to see storms. Plus,
it's better to do bad CPR than no CPR at all.
Life-saving power of CPR. We'll take you to South Florida, where 2 children are alive today thanks to this emergency procedure.
WRAL Investigates reporting could soon lead to a change in state law. Lawmakers took note of our stories on large college parties on rural farms. WRAL Investigates Sarah Kruger shares what's ahead.
Our full story about the possible changes coming down the pipeline here at the legislature airs tonight at 6. But, you know, we have done a number of stories about farm parties and the safety issues there. Now lawmakers here are trying to do their part to put a stop to those parties. 2 senators in particular, Greg Meyer and Brent Jackson, are leading the charge here. Jackson is a farmer himself and has sponsored laws already related to farming. Now, because of our stories, the issues of farm parties are front of mind.
We have been known of some of the abuse of the agritourism for a couple of years now. And to be honest with you, it was not a burning issue at that time, but now with what we're seeing, you know, and thanks to WRAL's coverage, it has become more of a burning issue.
Tonight at 6, WRAL investigates what changes lawmakers are considering to state law and what efforts they're suggesting in the meantime to put a stop to these parties. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Surveillance video shows the terrifying moment a 6-year-old went underwater in a Florida pool. He's recovering now thanks to the quick actions of a stranger. A warning now, some of the video you might see here you might find disturbing. And this is the moment right here. Oscar fell into the pool. His brother screamed as he watched Oscar go under and was struggling for air. And that's when a neighbor ran over to help, tossed his shoes, dove into the deep end there. The man pulled Oscar to the surface and performed CPR until paramedics arrived.
I don't feel like a hero. I just did what I have to do, and I feel good. I'm like blessed to be able to help this kid.
I'll say this is the second South Florida child rescued after near tragedy. The day before Mother's Day, 4-year-old Destiny Desert was rescued by her 12-year-old brother. We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. In Granville County, a crash caused I-85 to be backed up, but that has been cleared since then. Scott 5 flew over that scene not too long ago. You see lots of traffic stuck behind that backup. It's unclear how that crash happened or if anyone was hurt, but I-85 is back open and moving now.
Today, a bill that would allow almost anyone over 18 to carry a concealed gun without a permit could get final approval. Right now, concealed carry permits have several requirements: a background check, a fee, a test that proves you know how to shoot and understand gun laws, and you have to be 21. This proposed bill would lower the age to 18 and eliminate all those other requirements.
Today in Raleigh, hundreds of people are expected to gather for a protest over immigration enforcement. There's heightened tension in the capital city after the state Senate approved a bill requiring officials to cooperate with deportation efforts by ICE. This also comes as protests play out nationwide. The immigration crackdown bill now heads to Governor Stein's desk.
Sometimes all you need is a second chance. A singer used hers to wow the crowd on America's Got Talent.
And I will sing, I will sing.
In her early 20s, after a divorce, Lockhart became homeless with her 2 small children. She shared that she earned money by performing in bars and clubs and used that money to rent their first apartment. Now she dreams of winning a Grammy. Her performance got her one step closer to attaining that dream.
Every once in a while, you see somebody, you connect with them, and they just bring more and more to the table. I think you're amazing, and I want to give you this right now. Oh my God.
Tears, applause, and all the feels after that golden buzzer from Mel B. Charity Lockhart headed straight to the live shows in August. As for the song, Paul McCartney wrote Golden Slumbers from the band's album Abbey Road. The lyrics are based on a lullaby poem written in 1603.
Drama.
She delivered.
Our pets of the day are 11-month-old brothers who were found under a shed at a local church, and now they're looking for their forever home together. Abraham and Aaron. These 2 boys love to play together, would love a home with a good window seat so they can watch the birds go by. You can find out more about them on the Cat Angels website. NBC News Daily is up next on WRAL, your next local update in 30 minutes.
Get breaking news updates anytime on the WRAL News app.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.